And there would be a line of like 10, 15 people, and people standing outside and people standing inside and just impatiently waiting. There isn't that anymore at Baruch's Barbershop.
By the way,
good old days.
The only thing I could do for you is before you get elected, I will give you free haircuts by my barbershop. He's wonderful. But you don't have any white hair.
You will give me free haircuts?
Not me. Okay. I will take you in to get you, not a free haircut, but we'll take good care of you, Mr. Congressman. I'll make you look beautiful.
Attorney's Office of James Meadows, highly ranked traffic lawyer, former criminal lawyer, dedicated to all moving violations throughout New York State. James handles all points-related moving violations in New York City, Long Island, arrested. The law office of James Meadows is your best chance of beating your traffic ticket. You can reach James personally on his cell phone, 917-856-1247. That's 917-856-1247. Or you can reach him at 845-TICKETS. That's 845-842-5387 or 845-TICKETS.
Mr. Congressman, I know you're going to be driving around and you're going to get a ticket. You better take care of it because, the first thing they find out, they're going to start screaming at you. James will get you off the hook. He saved me a whole bunch of times. By the way, I want to tell you a funny thing. A guy this week calls me up. And he says, Heshy, I'm in trouble. Get over here quickly. Why? Police are going to arrest me. My car over here. So I run over to 47th Street. Young kid. What did he do? There's alternate side of the street parking. So we double park. But he double parked in a location where a guy didn't move his car. So nobody could pass. And he walked away for 20 minutes. Cars, as it is Borough Park, you saw is bumper to bumper. Cars piled up for 3 blocks. They called the police in the tow truck. They were ready to tow him away. He calls me up, Heshy, come save me. I come save him, cry to the police. The police say, listen, I'm giving this guy a criminal ticket and a regular ticket. Whoa. I mean, you talk what he did. Finally, we moved the car, but we didn't tow the car. He comes over to me afterwards, the kid. He says, can you help me get the ticket dismissed, Heshy? I said, are you crazy? I'm not even going to recommend you to my lawyer, James Meadows. I'm so scared what you did wrong. That was funny, Sawyer.
When are you getting me a ticket to Florida?
Okay.
A home, whether commercial or residential, for the best legal assistance any present or future property owner can get. Call the law office of Abraham Hoshander today, 347-435-3402. That's 347-435-3402.
Anyways, thank you, Sawyer.
Shout out.
We're going to shout out to my beautiful,
Meira Nava,
my granddaughter,
Lila Tamar, my beautiful Shoshana, your friend Ellie, Sergeant Peter, Dovin Shani Heiken.
Yes.
And
what's your daughter's name?
Aria.
What?
Aria?
Aria. A-R-I-A.
Aria. Okay.
Lioness in H in Hebrew.
Oh, and what about beautiful? And your wife?
Lindsay.
Lindsay. Mine is Linda.
Lindsay. Hi.
We have a joke about Linda this week, but we're going to start our show tonight. Hi, Lindsay. Everybody say hi to Lindsay. I'm sorry the show started late because we would have been starting early, but whatever. I'm not going to keep complaining about Sawyer that was late and hurt the show again.
Okay, first of
Lindsay's
all,
not mad at you.
excuse me, there were no parking spaces, and somebody had the chutzpah, tremendous audacity, to actually, between their driveway on each side, put, like the yellow tape around 2 garbage cans to reserve 2 spots for themselves.
Okay, can we start the show? Stop complaining.
I moved the garbage cans with the yellow tape.
You're wonderful. Anyways, here's my quote of the day. This quote, Brian, I made for you.
Thank you.
And you have a young daughter, so I want you to understand this quote. If you leave your children a world where you never stand up, they will inherit a world where they can't. And this is why we have to fight. And when you get into Congress, don't give in. Care about us. Fight for us because, that's why I've always fought the city. I've always fought for the parks. I've always fought to keep our stores and restaurants open. You and I went out to lunch the other day. You saw anybody wearing masks in my restaurant? Saw anybody questioning? You saw the streets, how beautiful they are. In the snow, people walking busy. And just imagine you would have come on a nice day. You wouldn't have even been able to walk down the block and everybody's happy here. Our parks are filled and we fight for this and we have our safety and our security. So that's why I love it. Anyways, here's my joke of the day. It's a quick joke due to that Sawyer came late. Here we go. When my first child was born, Abraham, my wife threatened to divorce me when I said I was going to give my son a silly name. So I called her bluff. She didn't leave. That's the joke. Okay. Anyways, here we go. Anyways,
loyal woman.
What a woman.
His middle name is corny.
32 years of bitter suffering. Oh, God help me. But Again, I love her. Yeah, sure. Anyways, she loves me. She calls me handsome every day. Anyways, I want you to know, my producer is going to put up a picture right now of your website. Brian, just quickly, introduce yourself to us. I know that you're running for the 10th district. I know that you have some organization you started, and also you're not only a businessman, you're a man that knows economy, knows budgets, knows audits. So you do qualify, not like the other idiots who don't know how to get into Congress. And we're going to talk about other stuff, the thing. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a small business owner. I ran a consumer advocacy company. Honestly, you brought up my daughter and kids and inspiring them. And that really is the basis of why I'm here and why I'm running. Because right now the country is absolutely broken. The city is a wreck. And the toxicity in Congress is not helping anybody. It's trickling down to the people, and the adults are setting bad examples for the kids. And something has to change. The status quo is not working.
But Congress is all your people, the Democrats. I mean, don't you agree with everything they've done? I mean, supposedly they made the country better, but you and I know that's not true.
I think it's
How
well
are you
known
going-
that there's a fissure in the Democratic.
But how are you going to go against the flow? Listen, the reason why Congress wins is because the Democrats win, because all the Democrats vote one way and all the Republicans vote the other way. What happens if they come up with an idea and they say, listen, Brian, you gotta do what we tell you to do, and we'll make a deal and give you something back. Even though you know they're wrong, even though you know the legislation is wrong, even though you know the budget is wrong, will you just give in?
Absolutely not. If I was that type of person, I would have been a career politician. I would have been doing this 12 years ago. You know, I was in the private sector for a long time. I'm doing this right now because I feel compelled, not because I have any personal ambition or because I'm willing to lay down to anybody's dogma or strategy. I'm my own man. I'm a moderate. I'm the only moderate in the race. And honestly, I'm just excited.
So this is why I'm going to be mad at you for a second. You're a nice man.
What'd I do?
I'm going to tell you, you're a nice man. You have a beautiful wife,
Thanks.
child, and you walked in here right now and you lied to me.
No, did I?
Yes, because you told me you're going to be honorable and honest. And the way everybody tells me is the second you get into Congress, you're going to be corrupt. You're not going to listen to the people. You're going to do everything your way. So you must be lying because you're telling us you're going to take care of us, and nobody has ever kept their word before.
I mean, listen.
That's what I mean. How are you going to, you see the history. They tell me too that the second I get elected, I'm going to be corrupt, which I know I've never been that way. How are you going to be different? And you see the history. You're a young man. You see it. How are you going to be different?
I am different. I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. There's nobody that's going to tell me in office how to represent the people, or who knows the neighbors and the issues, the challenges of District 10 more than I do. And there's nothing that's going to change when I'm in office. When I'm in office, nobody's going to tell me, no, this is the program. You better get with the program. That's not going to happen. I'm going to be my own man. I've always been my own man, and I'm not lying to you. I mean,
I'm joking
what
about
proof?
that.
What proof do you have that I lied to you? Do you have
my
a
proof,
time machine?
My proof is that, right, my proof is that everybody in the past has said what you said, and they've never kept their word.
Well, allow me to be the first.
Good answer. And we will be watching you, Brian. We will be watching you.
Please do. Hold me accountable.
Now, you're a Democrat. Do you know about who your Republican competitor is, or
I don't know
forget
much.
Nadler? We know Nadler is an idiot, and I know you can't say that, but he is. Please,
Oh, I'll talk about Nadler all you want.
I will give you a big donation if when you're debating him to say he's an idiot.
I'll do it for free.
You know what? This boy, you're in big trouble right now because I love you. So, but yeah, tell us about give us your platform. How is that?
So right now, public safety, huge issue. I go to the Upper West Side, a bastion of liberalism, and all I hear is public safety. I'm scared when I'm walking the streets. I'm holding my kid's hand, and I'm being security guard to come help me. Unfortunately, there was a defund the police movement, which I never supported. Jerry Nadler did. You can look at the West Side Rag. In 2020, he's on record doing so. He also endorsed Alvin Bragg, who first week in office.
Who is Alvin Bragg? Tell our people, even though we know, but tell us.
So Alvin Bragg is the new district attorney in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And his first week in office, he decriminalized armed robbery to petty theft, So long as if you can have a weapon, essentially, but if your intent was not to hurt somebody, then it's petty theft. So if the gun is not loaded, maybe that's one example. Another example is, you have a knife, but you merely show it to somebody. Your intention is not to stab somebody. How is anybody supposed to know? So that person's gonna make away with whatever merchandise they're trying to steal. And resisting arrest is another one that Alvin Bragg is saying it's okay to do, which if there's any better way to embolden criminals, that's the way to do it. And Jerry Nadler endorsed Alvin Bragg. And anti-Semitic crime right now, hate crimes are up 275% since Alvin Bragg took office. Oh,
yeah, I want to go more into that because to what I understand, here's this one. Sawyer, you're going to love this. Crime is up 60% citywide in the past week. Are you listening to this? New York City subway rapes, murders are the highest in 25 years. Rapes and murders. I mean, this is crazy.
We live in a society where, by the way, that people are being raped and dragged, and this is being televised and talked about, and it's in the papers, like in the back section, not on the front page. And, while they're being raped and robbed, other passengers are just standing there and they're busy filming it.
But,
we live in a very sick society of people that just don't care anymore. This is like entertainment. Right. Entertainment. You being butchered or robbed is entertainment.
Right. And I want you to know, I understand somebody getting robbed, it'll give them some trauma or whatever, but being raped is forever to be trauma.
It's awful.
Some of those people come back and you know what?
There's no respect for anything. There's no respect in the government. The government sucks. You want to know something else? We have a president, quote unquote, okay, who takes a knee. No president should be taking a knee.
We're going to get to that. But do you know that last year, the month of January of 2021, there was 6,905 cases of major incidents. I'm not talking little stuff. Mm-hmm. The month of January 2022, we're up at 9,566. Again, an increase just alone over there.
Why are you shocked? It's going to keep going up. Well, it's going to keep going up.
Mr. Congressman, I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm tired because 10,000 criminal things, and you are lucky that we just one picked. I know we have 8 million of us, but it could happen to us, and there's no excuses. And the year is not over. Remember, last year we had over 2,500 shootings, 600 murders in New York City, not New York State.
I hear you.
And we're not stopping it. Now, Brian, first of all, I hope they're posting your picture up on your website. What is your website, by the way?
www.votebriannyc.com.
Can you spell that?
BOTEBRIANNYC.com.
Okay, good. No, because some people spell Brian with a Y, no?
Oh, no.
That's the girly way.
Yeah, I don't know about
that. No,
Brian's
you're a real man. BRIAN,
yeah.
votebrian.com. I love it. Brian, you're gonna be in the Congress. You're gonna be in charge of, I don't know, $1 trillion budget. I don't know what it is.
I'm not gonna be in charge, but
I know,
yeah.
but you have. I mean, a lot of these people don't even look it over. Are you gonna really read through? You're a businessman. Are you gonna let them? I mean, sometimes they stick all this stuff in so you can get something. I mean, how much you can trim the fat off of it. For example, in New York City, we're spending this year, $100 million in homeless shelters, which go to private people who have to rent the building, who leases were signed by the last idiot mayor, de Blasio, who, by the way, let me tell you, Sawyer, he is not running for Congress. He backed out. So in that race over there, I know you're a Democrat. You have Mr. Max Rose running against Mr. Malitakis, which they changed their district. I know you can't pick Malitakis over Rose, but the point is Rose did nothing in his first time but try to hurt the police, and Malitakis was doing a great job. Will you be able to cross the aisle? I know you all say that, but will you be able to cross the aisle and work hand in hand and say, listen, I'm willing to work with you. I'm willing to turn my back because they're wrong?
Of course I can work across the aisle. I think one thing we can all agree upon is jobs and helping small businesses, helping to elevate them in our communities. And I know Democrats will be on board for something like that, and I know Republicans will be on board for something like that. So let's start simply. Let's try to mend and heal a very broken Congress.
A very broken, very good words.
Yeah, I absolutely can. You know, I have a ton of liberal friends. I have Republican friends. I have friends that are independents. And the key word here is friends. It doesn't have to be all this animosity. You know, I think Twitter is a part of it. I think, you know, the most sensationalist statements are uttered in order to get, you know, a Twitter mob moving. And that's politics there. That has to stop. If we can go back to the basics and just respect one another, even if we disagree, I think we really have started something.
I agree. Sorry, what's the phone number to call into the show?
718-289-0070. That's 718-289-0070.
Any questions on the super chats for our boy? You didn't even pay attention. You were busy with your cell phone. But listen to me, Brian. The way you spoke is very nice, and I agree with you 100% on your thinking. Just that next week we have a guy by the name of John Pierce on the show.
Okay.
He is the lawyer for the January 6th people who crashed the Capitol. So here's my two questions for you on that. Question number one is, when you get to Congress, you're going to have to wear a mask. Otherwise, you get thrown out. Are you going to wear a mask, and do you believe in the masks?
Masks are a tough issue, and
Let me clear something up. I got that. It's a tough political issue, but in fact is masks do not help. The fact is masks are hurting us. Fact is you see people in the millions not walking with masks, in the millions going to restaurants and not dying like you kept telling us. Not you, but the government told us 2.5 million Americans would have been dead the first year. We're already 2.5 years in the pandemic, and we're at the lowest numbers. They're saying the pandemic burnt out. We didn't know how to take care of it. People walking around without coats. People were making money. Things were good, and they got sick, whatever it was. They abused the privileges. Shouldn't you stand up for your rights and say, hey, Mrs. Pelosi, stop it. Get a whole bunch of your Congress people together?
Well, we don't know what's going to happen in January of 2023. The mask mandate may be lifted by then. At this point, I don't think there's any reason for a mask mandate. Number one, I'd like to see the masks off of kids in schools because there's no science backing that it reduces transmission. They have the most to lose from a psychological standpoint and the least to gain from being masked up amongst teachers who are vaccinated. The level of natural and vaccinated-induced immunity is very high in New York now and really across the country. It's time. It's time to remove the mandates.
Hey, who do we have on the line? You're on the air with Heshy, Soya, and Brian.
Soon to be Congressman Brian Roberts.
I'm sorry, the honorable soon to be Congressman.
The soon to be honorable Brian. I'm very happy to meet you. This is Christopher Messina from Messy Times.
Right, Christopher is a wonderful man from Florida. He was on our show. He is the most intelligent, smartest, articulate man that I know, really, and plus he's almost as good looking as me. But you know, Chris, we have
almost.
Chris, we have a problem. Brian looks better than me. I mean, I don't know. I think he did. You called me fat the other day, Brian.
Give him 2 years in Congress, he'll have no hair, and what's left will be gray.
But Chris, look, this young man. I mean, his ideals are great. Do you believe what he has to say?
This far, I'm hearing good stuff. Good stuff. And, you know, get into that mash and don't lose your soul and don't listen to them. You know, classic lore in Congress is the head of the party will say, welcome to here. I look forward to you voting with me. You're going to respond. I'm going to vote with you when I agree with you. And they're going to say back to you, I don't need that. I need you to vote with me when you don't agree with me.
I'm not going to
just
Congress
watch
to
out
get
for the
whipped.
meat grinder.
Yeah, I understand.
Nope.
But, you know,
no one does. So go fight.
I've always been a fighter. I was a varsity wrestler in high school. I really have no reason to run for Congress just to bow down to some authority I don't believe in. When I get there, I will be my own man in Congress. I do believe in democratic values. I do believe in liberalism. I think the Democratic Party, in a lot of ways, has lost itself. It's become.
Oh boy!
Yeah, it's
wow, Chris. Is he one of us? Really? Did we find one of us?
No, I'm a center left politician, and what I like, you know, I like the Bill Clinton era. I liked Democrats who really could reach across the aisle. I liked a time where the radical factions of both the right and the left weren't dominating the news every day, that normal people get the sense that this is America, because that's not America. Real people are not being represented, and the representation or the projection of what this country is not attached to reality. So we really need to take a step back.
Of course it's not. But remember, the Bill Clinton era of reaching across the aisle let the Chinese Communist Party into the World Trade Organization. So reaching across the aisle isn't always the greatest thing in the world.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying, right? The point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't have to be so divisive. I'm not saying that I'm going to go in there and, implement Bill Clinton's foreign policy. Obviously, a lot has changed, but the idea here is to be a mediator, to be a peacemaker, and to do the best I can to represent my district, liberal values, real liberal values, not what they're calling liberal values these days. And
excellent.
Yeah.
Can you make fun of AOC for us, please?
Let's just say her politics and my politics are not aligned.
What's this Green New Deal? Do you believe in changing the whole world to green?
Well, I do believe that climate change is real.
Uh-oh.
I know. We're dead.
I don't necessarily have faith
on.
that the government knows how to fix it. And I think a lot of money can be wasted by doing that. I read the Build Back Better bill, and I was hoping to be impressed by the climate change element of it, and I wasn't. It was very vague. They wanted to create a organization that it was very large to fight climate change, but how they were going to do it was lacking in detail. So,
They were just going to go pester people door to door, as if pestering us over the airways isn't enough. He wanted a bunch of climate warriors to irritate people in the suburbs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a moderate, so excess spending, especially on endeavors that everybody knows is not really going to move the dial on a certain subject, I'm not for. If there was something that I could look at and say, oh, hey, this is not going to kill jobs, the environment, maybe the water will be cleaner if we do this, okay, I'll look at it. But I have to read it first, and I have yet to be impressed by anything I've seen so far.
You see, I don't agree with the climate, the air, and all that pollution stuff, because the world does fix itself. But I do agree, too much garbage. Like in New York City, we had a big garbage dump. We figured out how to clean our garbage. We figured how to get rid of it, how to bury it, how to make parks above it. The water, you're right. We've got to keep our water clean. Yeah. There are things down here on the earth itself that we have to take care of. Absolutely. I do like electric cars, not because that I think the gas is no good, but I believe that we are going to run out of fuel. I do believe that it's going to hurt us. So by being able to creating solar energy and electric energy, yes, but I still believe that the oil and to run things cheap and not to hurt the people, because there is enough all of this. There is a new way to create oil, and they take even Canada. Christopher, in Canada here, where they have one of the biggest oil reserves, but they can't get it out because it's too expensive. What does that mean? It's too expensive, Chris.
Oh, there's just a certain threshold, right? There's always a cost per barrel of expense, but to get it out of the oil sands is usually about 1.8 times the normal average rate from a fracking well here in America. So it's certainly, at these prices, it's certainly economical to do so. Biden did nothing to help us take advantage of that by canceling this pipeline. Mainly that was a gift to the railroads owned by Warren Buffett. It's got nothing to do with the environmental nonsense they claim it does. Purely a payoff to Warren for whining about taxes, and that was a lie. But there's plenty of oil in Canada. We could power North America for the next 50 years. Right.
And what I hear also is, now that Mr. Biden stopped the pipeline, Putin has his own pipeline. And that's why, that's what I'm thinking today, that maybe that's why he wants to fight with Ukraine, because he doesn't want to pay them $1 billion in fees. The kind of money he's going to make on his pipeline, what does he care? Why would he let go to war? Why would he make destruction and people should die for some stupid oil? This is what I think the world is coming to.
Sure, but Putin's a mafioso. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. He's not even vaguely concerned that he supposedly runs the country. Doesn't matter to him in the slightest. He and his buddies are basically a mafia gang.
Did you hear the way Biden talk? Putin's going to listen to me, and I have him in his place. Is that, you think Putin...
I'd like one scoop of vanilla.
Do you think Putin's scared of Biden
Let's
at all?
scoop with Putin's backside. Yeah.
What do you think of that situation, of the foreign situation, Ukraine and Russia and all that stuff, that they shut down our pipeline, that the foreign countries can have it. Everybody, they can have everything, but we can't have.
I think you need to take a strong stance against Putin right away. And I think the time for that has already passed for Joe Biden.
Wow. You know that Biden blew Afghanistan. Is that correct?
He did not stick the landing on that one. I think Afghanistan was the beginning of the disillusionment of Joe Biden. I want Joe Biden to do well.
I want him to do it too. I mean, he's my president, no matter which way you want to think of it.
And I want gravity to stop working. Not going to happen, either one.
I just get the feeling he was sitting there in his room one day and he's just throwing a ball around the room, bouncing it off the wall. And he's just like, I'm going to pull out of Afghanistan tomorrow. And no planning, impulsive, left Americans stranded. And that I think was the beginning of his tanking in the polls. And if that's the best leadership that the Democrats can come up with, frankly, I'm disappointed. And that's why I want to be there. Not necessarily to be the president, but we need a new wave.
Why? If Biden can be the president, I think anybody can.
Yeah, but
well, then you're setting the bar a little bit low. But yeah, no,
the bar was reduced.
It was already
Very
set low
low.
by his boss.
that's right, Camilla. My question is, but Brian, I saw a video from Mr. Biden the last time he ran, and he said pulling out of Afghanistan would take at least 9 months to a year. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden now he changes his policy. All of a sudden, I mean...
He didn't change. The guy has dementia.
Okay.
He's not mentally sound.
It's not possible.
It is possible.
You're making fun of somebody.
Did you see all the speeches and everything that he said while he was
But
running, all the crazy stuff that he said,
so
and all the media was burying everything and just focusing in on Trump, who was talking sentences that were cohesive and made sense, and this guy was saying crazy stuff and sniffing little children and other people.
So the way you're talking,
this guy should have never even had a chance to run.
So the way you're talking.
He was not a competent individual to run for such a position.
But the point is, he's a president now. He's the man in charge. And the way you're talking is there's nothing we could do to fix the problem.
How many years is America around?
250 plus years.
And how many presidents have we had?
46 presidents.
46. So out of 250 something years, plus years, from all the millions of people that are living in the United States, this is who they picked from the 50 people in 200 and something years? You have got to be kidding me.
Well, he had the experience. But Brian, now let me just give you an if question.
Well, if I can say one more thing about Afghanistan, it was the saddest thing I've seen in a while, because not only did we leave Americans stranded there, but all the progress that was made, especially for women and liberalizing the context and the climate for them, is going to be reversed, and they're probably going to be punished for starting to adopt more Western ways, like reading books, going to school, and driving. I can't imagine driving. And as a father, I can't even fathom what it's like to be female and stuck in Afghanistan right now after a few decades of actually being able to live as a human being should live with more liberal values. I can't imagine.
And their whole economy collapsed. So again, whatever they built up, they have nothing back.
He caused for individuals not just to be, they were pillaged and raped and slaughtered after they pulled out.
I want to ask you a question, Brian. The president calls up your office, says, Congressman, pop on over to the White House, and you get on your little motorcycle over there, and you pop.
I have a motorcycle now.
Oh, you do have?
No, I'm asking you.
Ice cream.
When you get to Congress, you have to get a motorcycle because you can't drive the car there. You believe in climate change. But anyways, you
Ducati.
Okay, you're going to take an Uber. Anyways, you get over to the White House. You can't walk into that White House with an Uber. You can't do that. You're going to have to come with something nice. You're a congressman.
A Ducati.
Okay, well, I don't know what that means, but that's okay.
It's a motorcycle.
I got you. So now you pull up, you take off your leather jacket, you put on your suit and tie, and you walk into the president.
So I'm the Fonz now.
Right. Not the Fonz.
You got sick, kinky
Nobody can be in
people
a
on
fonts.
here. People asking you to do stuff as you stick out your tongue.
Oh, gosh.
Really sick individuals.
Oh, God.
Somebody wants to know, they saw you at the rally on Sunday on Shore Parkway. They want to know what you think about the vaccine mandates and the firing of all the New York City public school teachers.
So I want to ask that to you. Yeah, you answer that question. What
Was
do you
there a question you wanted to ask me
I was going to
before
ask you,
vaccines?
the president calls you in,
Yeah.
and we're going to ask you. The president calls you and says, Brian, I want you to agree with us that everybody has to not only take a shot, but it has to be, what's the proper word? That has to be, Chris, that it has to be done every year from now on, but annually. You have to take a shot once a year, like the flu shot. And I want you to agree with us that children, which has not yet been approved, Chris, but by the way, it's going to be approved very shortly, that children from...
Dream on.
Yeah, what age?
Not in Florida, not in the
From
last
the-
free state in America. We'll secede first.
I think
Well,
they're trying to get like really young children,
There
like
are-
under 5.
Right, there are
with
19,
infants
there are
almost.
19
Ain't
million,
gonna happen.
there are 19 million children in the United States under 5, and I'm willing to agree with you. Anything you want to get, Congressman, as long as you agree that everybody's got to be COVID, children got to be COVIDed, otherwise they can't go to school, they can't come out of the house. What do you say about that?
I would say that's not a president I could ever respect.
You're
I'm
sitting there by the
certainly not
president.
gonna
What's your
work with him.
reply? What's your reply to him?
I would reply, here's the thing about COVID and how it was handled. At first, we didn't have the data, right? So hunkering down, locking down in the beginning was the right thing to do.
No.
After that,
I disagree, but okay. You
come
locked
on,
yourself-
we had one epidemiologist's data that was saying 10% of us were going to die. I mean, it was incorrect data, but it's all we had. It was a
But
novel
after
virus.
2 weeks, they said 2 weeks. Then
No,
4
he was a
weeks, then
lying
6
lunatic who
Right.
lied about mad cow disease in
Yeah,
England.
we
He was
see
a
that
fraud
now.
the
We
whole
see that
time.
now.
But
I think
agree with you.
mandates
They
need to be
told us
lifted.
14 days, 21 days, 3
We knew
months
that
later.
then. We're in day 771 into
Right.
15
I
days to
agree.
slow
You're
the
preaching to the
spread.
choir. You're preaching to the choir. Like I said, I want the mask off my daughter. She has to be tested twice a week. We give her this Q-tip and she has to swab her nose, and it's uncomfortable and unnecessary. It's been a long time right now, and I think the establishment, they're blowing it, and they've kind of garnered a little bit too much power and control, and they don't want to give it back. And I'm not a fan of that. I do believe in liberty. But I believe in science. And the science has to be synonymous with the policy. And when there's the sense that it's derailed radically, then we have to question what is really happening. Let's take a look. My one problem with the COVID response is we still don't have risk stratification, because some people really are at risk from COVID. And these are people who are predisposed, have certain conditions, comorbidities, and these are people who should get the vaccine. I'm not saying that
Or stay home.
Yeah, or
we
stay-
shouldn't have to.
Brian, I really want you to run for Congress. I really want you to win. You really need to brush up on this. This data was obvious in March and April of 2020. There's been no mistake about this. Ron DeSantis looked at that data coming from the Italian Institutes of Health in February of 2020, instantly shut down the nursing homes when Cuomo was busy killing people, instantly stratified the risk proportion of the population, instantly gave it to old people as soon as it was available. We've done all of this in Florida the whole time. There's been no mystery about this. And everything these idiots in Washington have done, and in New York and in Michigan and California, have been stupid and have nothing to do with the science.
It
Never
hasn't
have.
made sense in a long time.
This
I'm
woman-
agreeing with you.
Michelle?
And I want to tell you what I heard today from a doctor. I mean, I saw it on video, that he says that when you take the PCR test, the swab, you could be inoculated. Somehow they can inoculate with that swab. I don't believe it, but is it possible, Chris? What do you think?
I hadn't heard that. I've got no idea.
Well, I heard that. That's what somebody told me, and I saw it on a video he showed me, but whatever. By the way, we have one good news, Chris. One thing that will make you happy once and for all. Bill de
Let's hear
Blasio.
it.
Bill de Blasio announces he won't run for Congress. Not running for governor, not for Congress, not for door catcher. Maybe we finally got rid of that idiot once and for all.
Well, his wife
Amen.
told him, look, I already stole $1 billion from Thrive New York. Why do you want to hold on to the few $1 million in the campaign fund? Let's flee the country and hide.
Well, go ahead.
Michelle Martino, she was placed on leave without pay since October 15th, 2021, from the Department of Education. What do you think about the mandate? She wants to know.
So I think the mandates are wrong. As you know, and I made the videos and I go to all the rallies, I stopped the mandates already over a year and a half ago. My community does not believe in it. We go to the weddings and I walked you around, Brian. I showed you, we do not believe in it here and we will not follow it no matter what. Now that it's at the end, I think COVID is burnt out.
Her union won't fight for her.
Right. And my question is to you, is 1,430
Disgusting.
workers were just fired by the mayor. Now, this mayor, I see him walking around without a mask. He goes to restaurants as well. My question to you is, what's your feel? I know you said you don't believe in it.
I'm pro-vax, anti-mandate. I've always been that way.
I have no problem being vaccinated. Okay, just I don't want to force anybody else. It's not your problem. Take care of yourself. You know the science.
And at this point, now that even the CDC is admitting that natural immunity is just as good or better than vaccinated immunity, we already know that there's high levels of transmission in the community already. People have already had COVID. So, we need to start looking at it like, all right, if you had COVID, it's as good or maybe better than being vaccinated. There was a study in Israel where 800,000 people were studied, and they determined that natural immunity is actually more effective than vaccinated immunity. So we've hit a threshold now where the mandates are really draconian and antiquated, and I hate to still see them. I hate to see them in school. 3 different pediatric associations have called a mental health emergency for children because of the mandates, because of COVID protocols, and nobody cares. Nobody's talking about it, and we have to be talking about it. We need to be talking about children's mental health. We need to be talking about risk stratification, and we need to be talking about mental health in general, because the cost-benefit analysis is still not being done. It's so extreme. People still think that 50%, 40% of people who get COVID are going to die. The number is less than 1%, and you can stratify the risk. Okay, stratify the risk.
Listen
But
to
I
this.
wanna say
Listen
one
to
thing.
this.
Yeah.
All the teachers were sick with COVID in December, and they are vaccinated. They let us test in September weekly, then got rid of it. Do you know what hypocrisy is? Like, you have people that were vaccinated, they got sick and were infecting other people. And, you have herd immunity, like, enough already. And also, like, if you get it naturally and you get rid of it, you're less likely to get sick later on. And if you're vaccinated, then you more likely will have it.
Now
It's not the people. I had it. I've been around people that were...
But Sawyer,
No. I've been around people after I had it that had COVID, and I didn't catch it.
Well, Sawyer, here's my question. You see COVID, the way she spoke about it. What she lost focus is we gave out over $94 billion for COVID. Over $94 billion was given out for COVID testing and buying and all this to these companies. $94 billion. But let me forget about that. Over $1 trillion, was it more, Chris? $2 trillion was given out for COVID relief and other stuff like that. Now, you know how much money that is? If we take that, if we stop giving that and use it for mental health, use it for housing, use it for your climate control, for all I care.
This is really sick. The judge also said for this woman, this teacher, the judge also said we are not caused irreparable harm by being placed on leave without pay. Hold on. And we are not allowed to work or to collect unemployment.
How is that not causing harm?
Oh, asking silly, rational questions. How are you ever going to make it in Congress, my friend?
We live in an upside-down world.
Let's bring logic
Black.
back.
Yes is no, no is yes.
Oh, man, I'll get a ringside seat for that. You can count on my support.
Thanks, Christopher.
I
You're
want
the
to.
first Democrat I ever voted for.
I want you
Honestly,
to
there
scream.
is a free thought caucus within the Democratic Party, and I hope to join it. There's a guy out in Michigan named Dan Kilby who started it with a few other congressmen, and that's something that I want to be a part of, and I want to have greater influence within Congress, because free thought in the exchange of free ideas and respecting one another in dialogue, even if we disagree. That's what needs to happen in Congress for government to function.
And you're running against Jerry Nadler, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You better get some sharp boots on your feet, my friend. He is a snake. He's a bad man. It's going to take a lot of meanness to beat him, not rational discourse.
He may have
he
beaten
owns
himself
the
at
Upper
this
West
point.
Side, and they believe him like he's Moses.
Yeah, he may have beaten himself at this point. Nobody's a fan of the defund Democrats at this point, and he was he was front and center, advising for that, pushing for that. He endorsed Bragg. Like I said, there's come on,
But he's been
32
pushing
years.
goofy
We need
lefty
new
nonsense
leadership.
for decades. He's a snake and a survivor. People love him for some bizarre reason.
I think people mistake boring with smart sometimes. And I think in Nadler's case, this applies. Jerry Nadler, I believe, is not a terrible guy, but he also really hasn't done much in Congress in 32 years. He passed no more than 3 bills in 32 years that he wrote, and one of them was to rename a building.
Wow.
So this, they say, oh, he's the head of the Judiciary Committee. Well, he wanted to defund the police. What kind of, how is that being judiciary? I don't understand.
He even thinks he's a lawyer.
That's being modern Democrat judiciary.
He even lost 2 impeachment trials. I mean, he can't even get the president impeached.
He spent all that time trying to impeach someone for nothing.
Easy. He spent $100 million on that stupid. I mean, the man is stupid. I mean, he actually thought Russian collusion was real. I mean, he can't be a smart man if he actually believed. And now we see proof, and we know that he knew all this information. He had the secret information. It wasn't like us knowing it. He actually had inside information and copies to these reports. FBI telling him that the Steele, whatever docket was wrong, whatever the Steele file was wrong, and this man actually kept going and taking our money and ruining it, and you got to just fight him on that. How many signatures do you need to get on the ballot?
We need triple the number. So
I know
1250 is the number. We need at least 4,000.
And anybody who wants to come help you get signatures, I think it starts March 1st.
March 1st, and I will be in Borough Park first week of March.
It's going to be cold, but we're going to pick a day. He's going to be in Borough Park with me, Christopher. I'm going to walk him up and down. Me and Sawyer are going to help him get signatures on a Sunday. Right, Sawyer?
Sure.
I love this area, by the way.
Great. I promise to take advantage of New York's laws, and I promise to show up on Election Day and vote 7 times for you.
No. Don't joke like that, Chris. We're going to get in trouble.
That's not me trying to do that. That's just the inefficiency
Come on,
of the
Chris.
system.
Only 7 times?
Oh, God.
Well,
I could beat you.
You know the police and FBI.
Good luck in your campaign, Brian. Beat Nadler. I'll send you a basket of fruit and whiskey.
Well,
I appreciate that.
I'll send you a
Thank you very
basket
much,
of ballots.
Yeah, stop it. The police and FBI do listen to this show for
Oh,
some reason.
come on.
We talking bourbon?
Yo, whatever you want. You choose.
We'll talk later.
Bourbon, sour match, scotch, your call. Anyway, have a good night,
Appreciate
everyone.
that.
Good night, Chris.
Good night, Chris.
Thank you. We're coming to the end of the show, and I want to ask you a question. I sent out a video today when I introduced you in the show of a young man sitting on a plane. Now, not only was he sitting on a plane, he wore the mask. He wore the mask above his nose. All he wrote on the mask was "Go Brandon." And the lady, the stewardess, this little tyrant, illegally, forget that she says you can't videotape me. I could. If you're talking to me, even on the telephone, I can record you and videotape you. Now, this illegal woman asked people not to record it, but she threw him off the plane for breaking his own First Amendment, again, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment right. And she was allowed to do that?
As I understand, this man was complying with federal law by keeping the mask on. I'm a free speech guy, so whatever it said about Brandon,
Right, you could
that's
say
his
F
right.
something on the show. People walk around like that. I mean, and it wasn't like he did something bad. He wrote "Grow Brandon" on a stupid little mask. It must be in pen or magic marker. And this is what upset her, and she threw him off the flight. It just is ridiculous.
yeah, that doesn't sound right to me at all. So, of course, that's free speech violation right there. I've seen worse on masks than that.
I know, Brian, and I don't know. I just telling you, the country is, but you see, we do fight back. There are little pockets that fight back. 40 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people. But look at Canada. What's your opinion of Canada? Millions are now showing up. They're really fighting back. I believe Trudeau has to give in, even though he's going to use the police over there illegally. Over there, the police are more, I believe they're more like Nazis. Over here, the police do have some compassion because those police are being mean to their people there. They're pushing them around. They're shooting stuff at them. They're towing their trucks. I mean, no police are standing up for the people, and that's no good.
This is America. We have the right to protest. If we're
But
upset
we're
about
not
something,
protesting together. We're not. So many little pockets of protest. If we all together, like the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King didn't just get the black people; he got the white people. The Asian people marched in the millions, and yeah,
I wish I could have
We
been
have
there.
to unite.
And they watch over here. Why would the president or the mayor care? 40, 50, 2,000 people. So they close the bridge for an hour. They go home.
100,000.
We need to sit in a location for days and weeks and threaten and scream and holler and not stop the economy, but stop the police, stop the mayor's office, stop the inspectors from coming out, stop the city government from moving, not the regular city people from moving. But for some reason, New Yorkers are not coming together. We're standing up, but we're not standing together, and I'm disappointed.
I can't condone lawlessness, but protesting, absolutely. And when people are passionate, they should find other people that are passionate, and they should get out there and they should fight for their rights.
Well, there's always somebody, like, there's a bunch of rabbis in Lakewood, some young kids in these schools. I don't want to name them. I was going to name them. And the rabbi said, listen, I can't call and make fun of Heshy, but you call him. They use dirty words. They try to catch me on a video doing something bad or saying something bad. They call in the middle of the night. Then they use bad words to me, and they try to accuse me. And they're calling, and I'm taping, and I'm taking their pictures. And I do want to make a report on them. The point is that the pressure and the blackmail that they try to put on me, which I don't care really. What happens if we come after you, Brian? We come after your family, your wife. We badmouth you. We tell you you're doing this one, which is not true, because you were hugging a lady, or you were next to a woman in a room, or you were in a private room with a criminal that rehabbed himself, and we just start talking bad stuff about you. Will the pressure get to you? I mean, it gets to me even. I mean, I don't give in, but it's getting to me. I mean,
I've already had anti-Semitic attacks in my email box. I've been called a mongrel Jew. Why are there so many Jews in 2022?
but does your wife see this? Will your kids see this? Your friends see this? What are you going to say when you come and sit there and they say,
Well,
"Oh,
nobody better come near my wife or my daughter. If you have something to say to me, you can say it to me.
But that's what we all say, but they do come. They do come and back. I was in a pizza shop, and me and Linda go to the homeless every weekend. We take for the homeless or special needs children pizzas. And some kid comes over for no reason at all. And usually I never take my wife in. We saw my wife and kid there and started screaming and embarrassing. He smelled for marijuana. He lives on Avenue T, and he's 24, some redhead kid. And he embarrassed me, and I couldn't hold myself back, and I screamed, and they videotaped me. And you know what the funny part is? I found out the kid who videotaped me, another one, his father used to cooperate with the FBI and steal and rob in the community himself. These people have no morals, and they come after you. They report that I had 25 lawsuits against me. But my lawsuits were fighting for the city, fighting for the tenants, them fighting against me. But again, they make it look so bad. Will you be able to deal with the media knocking you? Even AOC now is getting bad publicity. Will you be able to deal with it?
I can deal with whatever they're going to throw at me. I'm determined to win this race and to do well in Congress. That's where my focus is. People are going to badmouth me. Of course, you can't please everybody. If they come up to me on the street, I'm going to stay composed, and I'm going to try to walk away. And if I can't walk away, then I'll defend myself. But nobody is going to touch my wife or my daughter. That's bottom line.
Well, I said that too, and I tried, and you're a better man, and I hope you're a nice young man. You're going to do great in Congress, and the show is coming to an end. Give us some closing words. Give us some good advice. Give us something of the future, because so far, I love the future. I know it'll be better, but I don't see it. I don't see the light yet.
Here's the thing. One thing that needs to be mentioned: the anti-Semitism that's being normalized in Congress, largely headed by the Squad, AOC, that needs to be dealt with. And we need somebody who's vocal, who's bold, who will, on the congressional floor, call it out, because Jerry Nadler is not doing that. Despite, I know that being Jewish is dear to his heart, I assume, but he's not speaking out for
Jerry
the Jewish
Nadler
people.
is not Jewish dear to his heart. He doesn't really get nothing. What do you? Can I ask you a question before we go? What do you think about the Iran nuclear stuff that Jerry Nadler supported?
I think it's a complicated situation, but you need to think about Israel and its sovereignty and whether you want Iran to have any nuclear capabilities, because we already know they're funding terrorism in Yemen. They're not really a government that we can trust. So I don't know how we can really.
But you see, everybody's scared that Iran will blow up Israel. I'm scared they'll blow up Saudi Arabia. I'm scared that the rockets will make it to the United States.
Well, we don't know what they're going to do.
Right. The point is don't just blame Israel or bring Israel as an excuse. Blame that we don't believe that Iran could be trusted with nuclear weapons the same way we don't believe North Korea could be trusted with nuclear weapons.
Well, I don't see how we make deals with a country that funds terrorism in different parts of the globe. So that's.
But we have made a deal, and we want to make another deal with them.
Well, I wouldn't support that.
Well, I hope in Congress you get enough votes and stop this once and for all. It's crazy, and run around after them and chase them down. Have you ever been to Israel?
I've never been to Israel. I missed my opportunity to go on Birthright. My friend who did about 9 of them, he was one of the program directors, invited me. And every time, for whatever reason, I didn't go. I regret that. But Israel is dear to my heart, and I will make it there.
But once you get elected...
Heshy, it's after 10.
I know it's due because we have to make up the time.
Where's the music?
Oh, right. Where's the music? Well, we're going to say after you get elected, you have a month. I want to follow you to Israel. We have to go.
Let's go.
We're going to show you.
Show me around.
You got it. Anyways, thank you, everybody, listening to our show. Brian, you've been a wonderful
night,
guest.
everybody.
Good night,
Thank you for
everybody.
having
Say
me.
good night. You're wonderful.
Good night.
And he's good looking. You know what I'm saying?